On the season premiere of My Little Pony, the ponies celebrate a royal birth.
The baby is an alicorn?
So the MLP Season 6 premiere is going to have a baby alicorn? That's actually pretty cool. I'm curious to see how this goes.
But her out-of-control magic stops the party cold.
The storm clouds are already forming.
And she's gonna be causing a natural disaster? Wow, this is gonna be great! I was a little nervous about how Season 6 would be, but after seeing all this, I'm pumped. What could possibly ruin this? Oh no!
Things may come and things may go. Some go fast and some go slow. Few things last, that's all I know. But friendship carries on through the ages. Oh, carries on.
Heyo everybody, and welcome to our review of The Crystalling, Parts 1 and 2. I have very mixed feelings about this episode. I think it's good, but there are also bad things in it, and so things, but either way, you're gonna sit through us rambling about it, so you'll figure it out later.
Just use your eyes.
Now, we've already both talked about the ending to Season 5 and how poorly thought out it was, but despite everything we complained about, I am forced to admit that this ending did do one thing right. It made me extremely curious about what Season 6 would have to offer.
So let's get into what it does have to offer so far, shall we?
So, I'm guessing that, if that last shot of Season 5 was anything to go by, Starlight is going to become a side character, like Discord. She'll make a few appearances, get a couple episodes, and otherwise not affect the show in any major way.
I still can't believe you're letting me stay here as your pupil.
Oh, well, never mind that.
Alright, first thing I have to say about this episode that is kinda bad and kinda so-so. Starlight Glimmer is present. Now, I know Starlight was redeemed so annoyingly in the last finale, but when her face was like the first thing we saw in this episode, I just let out a big long sigh, because I personally cannot stand Starlight Glimmer. If her redemption had been handled in a better way, or it hadn't been there, it would be fine with Starlight being a character currently that's affecting everyone else like this. I mean, she's a good character. I don't dislike her in a character sense. She's just fine there. I just can't stand her being there because I know the way that she was redeemed was so bad to me. If you think otherwise, fine. But I personally would prefer Starlight to either not be there or be less prominent, so it seems. Starlight being there and being all sad and regretful and almost annoyingly constantly mentioning it. It's one of the first things she says in the episode. It's just kind of bugged me in a way. And after the finale for Season 5, seeing Starlight here interacting like this and her just being a protege for Twilight and no one giving a second thought about Starlight being completely good now just provided a distraction for me in the episode. It was a good episode, don't get me wrong, and Starlight is a good character, but that redemption just it struck a wrong chord with me, and it's distracting me a lot in this episode. It's coming back to haunt me, man.
Starlight really is a huge distraction in this episode, and believe me, I tried to just forget about how they handled her last season, but the show just keeps reminding me.
I still can't believe you're letting me stay here after everything I did.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, I'm not one to dwell on the past, and neither should you.
Gee, Twilight, you almost sound like the writers on this show. Although, on the subject of not dwelling on the past, I do find it pretty strange that none of Twilight's friends seem even the slightest bit nervous around Starlight.
Yeah, Starlight turning good couldn't have been, more than a couple weeks ago. I would be a bit on guard, not just lounging.
So Starlight has managed to convince a group of ponies to respect and trust her despite some major character issues that are extremely noticeable to the audience. Now, where have I heard this before? Oh, wait!
But anyway, as all of the ponies chat in the throne room about whether or not they should go out to the Crystal Empire yet, and they all seem collectively confused about what's called a crystalling. Spike explains it like this.
Whenever a baby is born in the Crystal Empire, the parents bring it before the Crystal Heart. They get the purest shard of crystal they can find, then pick a crystaller to present the baby. Then they all share the light and joy they feel, feeding it into the crystal that joins with the heart and increases its power. And this is going to be a royal crystalling, so pretty much the whole empire will show up. That hasn't happened in a millennia.
Hold on, play that last line again.
That hasn't happened in a millennia. A millennia.
On another note, this scene does a good job showcasing Starlight's personality, mainly that she isn't comfortable enough with herself to really show it off. I suppose I can pick up a few things about her, and we'll get to some of them later, but for the most part, she's just guilt about her past and nervousness about making friends because of her past.
Which is a nice touch. As Starlight and Twilight discuss what friendship lessons Starlight should have, the topic of meeting Sunburst again pops up, and Starlight kinda freaks.
Starlight?
I like that part though, that's a good part. And if they are gonna have to remind us of all of the stuff that she did, at least make it worth watching and have her meet this pony who basically turned her into a madmare. And Twilight remains completely oblivious to how Starlight's actually feeling. And not too long from then, Spike figures it out, and Twilight receives an invitation for the crystalling. And let it be written, let it be done, Starlight's in Sunburst! Panic mode!
Also, Twilight's face when she sees the invitation made me laugh the first time I saw it. Even if Starlight's here, I still can't help but smile whenever the show does something adorable, so I guess that's something to consider. Even when the show makes a less than positive change, it's still the same show with all the same fun things about it.
I guess it's not surprising that Sunburst got his cutie mark in magic and went off to Princess Celestia's school. But when he left...
You blamed cutie marks and stripped a whole
No,
village of
no, Spike! Don't remind me! We've been reminded enough. I'm just trying to forget all this.
You said don't dwell on the past, so let us not dwell. I'm begging you here, man.
Okay, let's see. We have to find something to distract us from that thing that Starlight won't stop worrying about. Let's see. Oh, hey, shining armor. And he looks like he's about to go lesson 0.
Sorry, I haven't really slept since Cadence had the baby. It sure would be great to get a break.
Hint much? This is subtle hinting that wasn't so subtle 101.
Now, here's one positive thing I'll say about Starlight Glimmer. If this episode is any indication, it looks like her and Spike are going to be interacting quite a bit, which is great because that gives Spike someone to interact with besides Twilight, and leaves a lot more room for his character to grow.
So, as Spike is leading Starlight through the Crystal Empire towards their destination, they pass by the statue of Spike, which is making a comeback. Starlight, in an attempt to distract Spike from their objective, asks about the statue, which results in a crowd of ponies and Spike blabbering on about how great he is. And this continues on for a while until Spike realizes what Starlight is doing and makes her come with him to Sunburst's house.
So between what she did in that village and what's happening here, it looks like Starlight has a tendency to be a little dishonest with others about her real motives and emotions. I think I found Starlight's first real legitimate personality trait. Well, there's still a long way to go from here, but I'm glad to see that Operation Characterize Starlight is well underway.
This did add on some enjoyment for me in the first episode, but as Spike is swimming in his own ego, the main six are taking a look at the baby, which, as completely spoiled inside of the promo, is, yes, an alicorn. The first to be born an alicorn, actually, and the baby being an alicorn startles every pony and causes a lot of problems with the baby's magic and flying.
And, if the reactions to this episode are any indication, then, for once, the Brony community isn't entering panic mode the moment they see a pair of wings. Yay!
For now!
I can't imagine canceling such a beautiful and important ceremony over something so potentially adorable.
Wait, potentially adorable? Is that thing not adorable enough already?
It's so adorable it should be banned. Get the police out here, like seriously. As Cadence, Luna, and Celestia are going out to address the ponies of the Crystal Empire about the crystalling, Twilight and Pinkie Pie have a hard time keeping up with the baby. And the remaining ponies of the main six help Shining Armor with the remaining things for the crystalling, which should have been done ahead of time. You know, like a wedding, maybe? Do you propose the day of the wedding? No. Do you hire a priest on the day of the wedding? No. Do you get her a ring on the day of the wedding? No. So do your things ahead of time and be responsible so you don't end up like this.
Being a father is amazing and wonderful and amazing and confusing and amazing.
This has been a public service announcement from the PonyThat'sQuestYourThing.gov. Thank you for wasting your time.
Sunburst?
Yes? What can I do for you?
As it turns out, Sunburst is adorable. And then we cut back to the princesses, and then to Shining Armor, and then to Twilight and Pinkie with the baby, and wow, there is a lot of stuff going on in this episode.
Lots of different separate plot lines. We're lucky to organize it in a way that isn't all that confusing.
And after all of that happens, they bring the baby out, and...
This is, by far, the laziest part of the episode, in my opinion. There could have been a million different ways that they could have had that glass heart break that maybe could have been a bit more interesting, at least to me. In my personal opinion, just having the baby cry and shatter the heart that way was just kind of like, oh, we gotta have the heart shatter somehow, let's make the baby do it, why not? It didn't take away from the episode, it's just kind of something I wanted to comment on.
I don't think this is a problem. It makes logical sense and moves the story forward, so I'm okay.
So after the baby thing, which is very debatable, the Crystal Empire is immediately put in danger of being covered with ice and snow. As the ponies freak out about it, the baby is peacefully sleeping and Starlight and Sunburst are oblivious.
It's not like there's some spell that would magically compel us to pick up where we left off.
Actually, there's several. Miss Maine's Material Amity, Rockhoof's Rapport, Flash Prance's Fellowship.
Is it just me, or did equestrian magic suddenly get a whole lot creepier and more mind-control-y?
Yeah, well, magic is magic, and if you didn't expect there to be some creepy-ish things, you sign up for the wrong show. I mean, we've already had a lot of weird sombra room eyes glowy thing a while back, so this isn't all that surprising. It's also quite minor to the plot line.
And if all else fails, ask them to share an embarrassing moment from their past, maybe even something they regret.
Okay, I have to ask because I'm honestly not sure anymore, but does being a former cult leader qualify as embarrassing?
Probably? Yeah, probably.
Twilight and company go to look for a spell to fix the heart, while Celestia and Luna actually make themselves useful by trying to fight off the forces of nature. Meanwhile, Starlight, Glimmer, and Spike prove that being sad makes you completely oblivious to the snow that's just suddenly started to fall from the sky.
Cause not only are they sad, they're completely blind too! It must be a side effect. But when they do figure it out, they rush back to the castle to find a book. And when they do find this said book, and this is when I do like the baby magic, it gets destroyed by a blast the baby fired, and it bounced off all a million different things before hitting the book. And that I really like. That was a great use of the baby magic.
Meanwhile, Twilight's friends learn the hard way that audiences are stupid.
It might not be the best idea to stay outside.
I camped out all night for this spot. I'm not about to just give it up.
Just mind-blowingly dumb.
Baby's an alicorn, and her magic's plumb crazy, so you might not want to be that close after all.
Oh, those little wings are probably so cute!
Wow.
It was so funny though.
Starlight tries to get Sunburst to use his magical knowledge to help out with the situation, but as it turns out, he lied about being a wizard. And this gets Starlight to reveal her secret as well.
Well, you don't know what it was like to be left behind. And then getting so bitter that you steal the cutie marks from an entire village, and then get defeated by Twilight and her friends. So you travel through time to get back at them, but they beat you again and teach you about friendship, but you're so terrified ponies will find out what you did.
Everyone knows what you did! Literally, every pony knows what you did. I'm willing to bet almost every pony inside of Ponyville knows. The main six knows. Everyone in that town you're messing with knows. It's not exactly a secret. And with that newspaper thing going around, I bet there's quite a few other ponies who know about that too. It's a pretty public thing. Of course, I can understand why you would be nervous for him in specific to know, but literally every pony else knows.
And Sunburst has a pretty typical reaction to finding out that your old friend committed a bunch of crimes behind your back.
Did you really travel through time?
There's Friendship is Magic logic for you. Even the biggest problems can be solved immediately with little to no effort. Yeah, forget all the struggling and difficulty and overcoming obstacles that made so many episodes of this show so great. Let's just fix everything instantly. We don't need to worry about Starlight Glimmer doing horrifying magical things for revenge. Twilight can fix that up in seconds flat. You know what else can be solved with little to no effort? Committing borderline self-harm. That's an easy one. Okay, I'm sorry. We totally couldn't shut up about Starlight Glimmer and her rushed redemption. It's just, when the rest of this show is still so funny, cute, and engaging, problems like this one that just keep popping up get all the more annoying. I really hope that other episodes of the season don't put so much focus on what already happened to Starlight. I don't want to have to be reminded of that ever again. Just move on and let her grow as a character.
Please! And he's totally fine with the fact that his old friend went mad because of him. Like, oh yeah, bro, no problem. It's becoming more confusing by the minute.
Maybe if I had reached out, you could have helped me at magic school, and I could have helped you to...
Not become totally evil?
Hey, I think that's the first time all episode that Starlight Glimmer actually directly referenced the fact that what she did was crazy and terrible. As in, she isn't just hinting at it, she isn't just giving uncomfortable looks to the audience, she's actually verbally acknowledging it. I think she's starting to move on.
Unless they plunge back into the deep pits of Starlight later on, which they probably will, knowing the writers. Let's bask in the joy now! But anyway, Sunburst agrees to help with the storm, explaining that multiple spells had to be combined in order to create something that would fix the heart. The love and the crystalling must be combined with a spell to fix the heart. And once they get that done, with a little bit of havoc, the heart is fixed and every pony goes back to being crystal ponies! Buy our toys!
For the record, the crystal magic in this episode looks a lot weirder than it did back in Season 3. It's not terrible, but I notice it a little.
Aren't we gonna name the poor little dear? We were thinking Flurry Heart.
You know, to remember the occasion.
Because it's more than okay to name children after destructive natural events. Still, it's a cute name, so there's that.
And the episode ends with Starlight feeling better, or something along those lines. Either way, as I previously mentioned, some things in this episode were pretty good, and others were kind of bad, and some things were so-so. All in all, if I can manage to ignore all of the things, this episode wasn't half bad. It was a pretty good premiere, and I'd give it, 2.7 out of 5 or something. Around 2.5 and 3 out of 5. It's, had a lot of things going for it, and other things that just kind of made me meh. Kind of makes it hard to put an exact pinpoint on what out of 5 is.
This was a fun, entertaining way to open up the season. It wasn't quite as action-oriented as other two-parters, but as a supernatural sitcom episode, I think it's fine enough. There were a few laughs and some interesting story moments, and an adorable baby. It was fun. But that Starlight, though, she just kept intruding on the fun atmosphere, like a fly buzzing in your ear. I try not to outright look for problems in an episode when I watch it the first time, but throughout this episode, I just felt that annoying voice in the back of my head saying, "Look at these problems! Look at them!" And I think that's pretty much all Starlight's fault. As much as it makes sense why Starlight felt guilty throughout this episode, I really hope they tone that aspect down in future episodes, if only so I don't have to be reminded of her redemption anymore. I want to be comfortable with Starlight, but I can only do that if Starlight is comfortable with Starlight. On some level, I can understand why the staff of this show would want Twilight to have a student. It advances her forward, and offers new opportunities to the show. But even ignoring the existence of better friendship student candidates like Sunset Shimmer and Moon Dancer, Starlight still hasn't proven to be an endearing enough character for me to want her around. But I guess there's still plenty of time for that. I'll give this one a 3.5 out of 5. I still enjoyed it, and despite the pink and purple elephant in the room, Friendship is Magic still seems like its fun, adorable self. I'm just not used to this change yet.
Thank you, one and all for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye!
Power was all I desired, but all that
So remember how Starlight and Spike seemed weirdly oblivious to the obvious snowflakes in front of their faces?
Mm-hmm. Why is that anyway?
I actually have a theory. Now, if you remember right, Starlight and Spike didn't realize how cold it was until after Starlight pointed out Spike's visible breath. So when that scene was written, the writers probably weren't planning on there being any visual indication of the cold beyond Spike's breath. But when the animators got their hands on it, they added in snow, despite the script never calling for that. This wound up retroactively making the scene make less sense in a visual blooper that probably could have been fixed with some better communication.
But hey, that's just a theory! A TV theory!